member of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Jared, it's good to chat with you again. There's so much to unpack here. A lot of headlines about potential stimulus and about the potential for either corporate and or personal income tax hikes. What can you tell us? Are tax increases on the way?
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. I will speak to that question. It's a good one. It's an important one. And I have an answer for you. But as you said, the American Rescue Plan has been legislated. It is now upon the land. And we're talking about 100 million shots in arms and 100 million checks in pockets. That's one of the president's near-term goals. His Help is Here tour is out there today with the president and vice president out in the country explaining what this package is going to do, emphasizing small businesses today with $15 billion in flexible grants to some of our smallest, most severely impacted businesses, many of whom have been left out by earlier parts of the measure, including $28 billion for a new grant program to support some of our hardest hit small restaurants, areas that were hardest hit by the pandemic. Now, what you're talking about, this is deficit finance. What you're talking about is building back better, infrastructure, clean energy, more permanent programs in the child care and elder care space. And the president has consistently said that permanent programs should be paid for to enhance their fiscal sustainability. And that is the future agenda. We're not there to unpack it yet, but that he has been forthright about.
The $25 billion for restaurants, Jared, let's focus there. And I understand how legislation works. It's very hard to use a scalpel when sometimes all you have is a sledgehammer. I get it. However, was there any discussion internally about, instead of $1,400 for everybody, where the majority of American families, let's be honest, they don't need it. They don't need it. That's not me. That's Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank. There's 30 million families that desperately need more because they were wiped out. Is there any conversations about, as opposed to $1,400 for everybody, $10,000 or $20,000 for those in restaurants or others that got obliterated?
So I think we have kind of a fundamental disagreement on the targeting of the plan. It's not 28, by the way, 28 billion for all restaurants. It's 28 billion for the hardest hit restaurants. And if you look at the checks, I've got a number for you to throw out that I don't think has been widely appreciated. The Tax Policy Center, which does, really top shelf work on this kind of distributional outcome, they found that the after-tax increase for families with kids in the bottom fifth, so the bottom quintile, their after-tax income increase was 35%. For the middle class, 9%. For the top 1%, 0%. I consider that to be targeting that is very much commensurate with who's experienced the pain of this pandemic and who still is, particularly in the small business sector. Paycheck protection programs, of which the rescue plan adds over $7 billion, that's not reached the kind of mom and pop, small businesses, black and brown entrepreneurs that the president has pulled for ever since he started talking about that. And so that's another improvement here. So I think the targeting is better than your comments suggest.
Well, okay, but Jared, you came on an economics program. You're going to deal with people that actually understand the tax code, as I do, and I will tell you this: what you're saying is correct. Obviously, I would expect nothing less. But there's a difference between the stimulus checks and the increase in the earned income tax credit. It's not only size, but its availability. Those, I think, are more factored into the numbers that you are referring to, which is that EITC aid, not only for people with kids, but people without kids. It goes up and it expands it. And most people I talk to in D.C. believe it will be extended forever. Have we seen the beginning? Maybe these are, I don't know, dirty letters for you, Jared. Have we seen the beginning of a universal basic income?
Well, no, in the sense that I was saying before. I take universal basic income to mean universal. Everybody gets, something like the same amount. But of course, the packages that we've been talking about all have phase-outs. And in fact, in the final deal in the Senate, the phase-out for the checks actually became steeper. So again, if I'm talking about the Tax Policy Center numbers, those are all in after-tax numbers. I'm not pulling out the checks or the unemployment or the EITC or the child tax. That's all in. 35% for families with kids, boost in after-tax income in the bottom fifth, 0 at the top 1%. That doesn't sound like universal basic income.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.